Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to crack open the core idea of one of the most talked about and, yeah, controversial finance books ever written, Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. We're boiling it all down in just about 5 minutes.
You know, the entire book really hangs on this one powerful question. Kiyosaki kicks things off by saying that the wealthy teach their children this one money secret that pretty much everyone else misses out on. So, what is it? What's the big secret? Well, the secret isn't just some formula. It's actually revealed through a story. The story of Kiyosaki's two dads. And this isn't just a clever hook. It's the entire framework for the book. He had his real father, who he calls his poor dad, and then his best friend's father, who became his rich dad.
And right here, you can see the massive difference between these two guys. On one side, you've got poor dad, super smart, highly educated, but he had that classic employee mindset, go to school, get good grades, find a safe, secure job. But then you have rich dad. He was more street smart, an entrepreneur, and his whole philosophy was totally different. It was, don't just work in the system, learn to own the system. We're talking about two completely different ways of looking at the world.
Okay, so this huge difference in how they saw the world, it leads to the single most important lesson in the entire book. It's a fundamental shift in thinking that really separates these two dads and, well, their financial futures.
And here it is. This one sentence is basically the whole book in a nutshell. The rich don't work for money, they make money work for them. Think about that. Poor dad worked his entire life for a paycheck. He was trading his time for money. Rich dad, on the other hand, spent his life building systems, businesses, investments that would make money for him even when he wasn't actively working. One guy was on a hamster wheel, the other guy owned the wheel. So you're probably asking, okay, how do you even learn to do that? And this is a huge point in the book. It all comes down to financial education, actually understanding the language of money. And Kiyosaki argues that this is the one crucial skill our schools just completely forget to teach us. And the very first lesson in this new kind of education, this financial literacy, is learning the difference between two simple but incredibly powerful words, assets and liabilities. Seriously, getting this right is the foundation for everything else. All right, so let's start with the official textbook definition. An asset is basically anything you own that has value and is expected to, provide some kind of future benefit. Think about things like stocks that pay you dividends, or a rental property that brings in cash every month. Okay, and a liability, well, that's the opposite. It's a debt, something you owe to someone else. We're talking mortgages, car loans, credit card debt, all the stuff that takes money out of your bank account. But Kiyosaki says, you know what? These textbook definitions are way too complicated, so he just simplifies the whole thing. And this is where it gets super simple. Forget all that complicated jargon. Kiyosaki's rule is this: an asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out of your pocket. That's it. It's that simple. Rich Dad's entire game plan was to just keep buying assets. The problem, Kiyosaki says, is that most of us spend our lives buying liabilities that we think are assets. Okay, so you know the difference now. But what do you do with that knowledge? It's not just about bookkeeping. This requires a complete change in how you think about your job, about business, and even about risk itself. This new way of thinking leads to a totally different set of life roles, right? Instead of just building your career at someone else's company, you start focusing on building your own business on the side. Your mission becomes acquiring things that generate income for you, those assets. You start to see calculated risks not as something to be afraid of, but as chances to learn. And maybe most importantly, you make a promise to yourself to never, ever stop learning about money.
So when you start to put all these pieces together, the new mindset, the financial know-how, and that laser focus on buying assets, they all point down one clear path, towards one big ultimate goal.
The whole journey can really be boiled down to 3 steps. First, you have to change your mindset. Stop thinking like an employee who just wants a bigger paycheck and start thinking like an owner who wants to build value. Second, you put that thinking into action by methodically acquiring assets. And where does that lead? Step 3, you achieve real, honest-to-goodness financial freedom.
And that's the end game. That's the whole point. Financial freedom is that moment when your assets are making enough money to cover all your living expenses. You're no longer chained to a job just to survive. You have officially escaped what Kiyosaki famously calls the rat race.
So, I'm going to leave you with the same thought-provoking question that the book leaves its readers with. Now that you know the simple definition, does it put money in your pocket or take money out?
Is your house really an asset? Thinking about questions like that, well, that's what Rich Dad, Poor Dad is all about.